So everyone loves travel. And if you're getting a fully funded study abroad trip, why would you not take it, right? Something similar like that happened to me back in July of this month, and I got an opportunity to go take one of my required courses to graduate early in Iceland for 2 weeks. It was interesting. I was not about to let go of that opportunity because I'd been working on applying to it, making it work since the beginning of the year. When it happened, I was prepared. I am naturally a very researchistic person, if that's even a word. I love to kind of see my options. I want to kind of, especially financially, know how much I need to budget for the trip, what I'm going to be spending on, what my priorities are going to be. And that turned out to be a great lesson. Now, Iceland was supposed to be a trip for my studying, obviously. I was taking the courses, I was there to study, but I was also there for 2 weeks. That means it comes with its own expenses because, yes, my scholarship luckily covered my tuition and hostel fees and airfare, but it did not cover food at all. That money had to come out of pocket. And it's not easy to bring up that much money because Iceland is one of the countries on the expensive side, even if you have a US dollar. Yes, technically the dollar is stronger, but the Icelandic Krona and the local prices, they kind of add up your costs. On average, if you're not counting hostel, airfare, anything, it's about $3,000 for 2 weeks of trip, including your food for 2 times, and then if you go out and splurge on bars and etc., which is not just my vibe, but if you are that kind of person, you have to budget for that as well. Now, July was also the time when I was diverting kind of my interests from a little bit from like marketing and sales and a little bit into personal finance, and I'm just more money conscious in general as well. So I challenged myself, can I go to Iceland and manage my food, my fun, my gifts for people to come back to? Can I do it all in $1,000? Okay, now I know that is very tight because I just said you need a minimum of $3,000 to kind of really have a good trip, including transportation, etc. Throughout the city. Yes, you can walk, but then if you're going down to the south areas, it's a countryside. You have to have transportation. Now, let me point out again that my flights were covered, my hostel fees were covered, and my transportation to and from places, because it was for study reasons, was also covered. Would I have been able to do it under $1,000 if I had all those fees? No, but I'm talking about that daily spending that you kind of have while you are in a different country that is expensive. So my breakdown is gonna focus on food and meaningful gifts and a little bit of splurging. Let's do a quick budget breakdown. Airfare and hostel and transportation in the country covered by tuition. I'm so grateful. Groceries, $300. Yes, for 2 weeks. And I did not even buy extra. I was buying frozen food. I was buying ready to go, ready to eat food, breakfast, because we were waking up early, traveling the whole day. So I needed to eat 3 times a day to kind of sustain myself. We were walking around a lot as well. So you also have to take into consideration the energy that goes into doing all the things that you're doing in a different country. Then eating out, because I'm making friends there as well. I'm not gonna be cheap all the time or be frugal all the time. I do want to splurge on things. So I gave myself $200, which, if I tell you guys, each meal in Iceland, if you're having like a full meal that is like one full course meal and a drink, it costs $40 to $45 on average. And that's if you go like, like local in Reykjavik. If you're going countryside, it's even more expensive because there's not much options around there. So eating out was maximum 4 times, but I was fine with it because going out twice a week, I think it was okay for me. I'm not a big cool like, oh, I have to have so much in my travels. So eating out was $200. Shopping and gifts. This one surprisingly has been more than the other 2 areas that I've talked. It's $400, and the reason is I am a very thoughtful person. I like to think of myself as a thoughtful person. I like to portray myself, not because I pretend, but because I am a thoughtful person. And I wanted to budget out money for proper gifts, something that has meaning, and that comes with expense. One of the examples was I bought my boyfriend really limited edition. They were testing out their product perfume set that represented the cycle of life, and all of the things that they were made of was from a cycle of life from a plant. It was similar to something like that. It was a while ago, so I don't remember exactly what, but I remember walking down to that place. It was 15 minutes from my place, and I was walking down also because Reykjavik is beautiful and I would just prefer to walk. But I walked 15 to 20 minutes to that, like the perfume place. But before discount, is a $190 perfume set. It's 5 little perfume bottles that represent the cycle of life. For me, it's expensive because I just don't come from money. Doesn't mean money wouldn't come from me, but let me just lay it out there. For some people, a $200 perfume is nothing, but for me, it took a lot. It was 20% of my entire budget that I took for Iceland. So that kind of gives you the number. To review, that was 300 groceries, eating out was 200, and shopping and gifts was $400. Now, of course, these were not exact numbers. I just estimated it, but the total came out to be somewhere around $900, definitely under the budget. Let's cheer for that because we did it. We did it under $1,000, 2 weeks in Iceland. So that was great. Now, here's what I want to kind of really talk about for you guys, for my audience who's here for the financial lessons. Here's what I learned. I learned to really research my costs before going anywhere. And that's a habit I've been taking upon myself even after my return, because after that I had another trip for 3 days in the country but not in the same state, and I kind of estimated my costs. Okay, how am I gonna work around? That's just a good lesson to have. I think it just really keeps you intact the entire time of your trip. You can always take extra, which is my second tip, because you never know what could happen. Like if I were to, God forbid, get into an accident in Iceland, or I were to get severely sick that I have to go to the medical place over there, I need to have some extra bucks. So yes, my budget was $1,000, but I did take close to $1,800 for the trip and pretended that the other $800 just did not exist. Second was I logged my daily spending and kind of budgeted out daily for like the days that I had left. So I remember within a week of my Iceland trip, I was really halfway through my budget because I bought the gift the first week, which was not a kind decision. That was not a sane decision. If you're buying such a big thing that's coming out of your budget, it should always be put back towards the end of your trip. That way you know that you're saving for that. At the same time, if there's something else that needs your attention, you're not running out of money. But I bought that the first week, which means I had to be really careful for the next week. And that was where the challenge was. But logging my spending really helped because I could budget around, okay, how much money can I put in daily depending on where I'm at today? So what that does is it kind of gives you, okay, maybe I can put in $50. So am I really that hungry today? And no, I never stayed hungry. If I was hungry, I did buy. So I was not that frugal. It's just like, I still have this thing left over. Can I also, because I'm not a big eater either, right? So can I also eat this tomorrow? And if I eat this tomorrow, what impact is that going to make? And trust me, it sounds like a lot, but it does not take more than 15 minutes to kind of budget it out and adjust your spending budget. And it saves you so much long term. And the peace that you get knowing exactly how much you're spending and where you're spending it and knowing how much you still have, the peace is incredible. Number 3 is stick to my plan when everyone else is splurging. Remember, I went with 10 other girls on that trip. Women, I'm not saying men don't, but like women, as women, we love to spend when we see some clothes, when we see something pretty. Like, it's just, I'm a woman. I know. I love to spend. So I was with these women and I met a lot of different personalities. I saw one that legit in front of me had at least spent $2,000 just swiping her card everywhere. Like she had to every single gift store that we went to, which if you've been to Iceland, there are literally like every 2 to 3 stores, there's a gift shop, right? So every single gift shop we went to, she had to buy 2 to 3 things. And Of course, I'm not gonna say anything. If they ask me, or if they are like genuinely like something, I would tell them, right? But I think she had budget. Well, I don't know if she had budgeted, but she had legit spent $2,000 in front of me just swiping her cards at gift stores. Yes, it adds up so quickly. I asked her, hey, have you checked your bank statement? Because I don't know why. We were just having a conversation about money and we just went there. So I was like, hey, have you checked your bank statement in the past week? And she's like, I'm scared. And that feeling, I know that feeling so well. I know that feeling. I've heard about that feeling from almost every single person that age range. And I just think that is a very strong to point out. If someone else is really, really like just splurging, it can tempt you to get out of your plan and follow that behavior. Stop. That is not wise for you. You have to stick to yourself. You have to stick to your bigger purpose. Like, okay, hey, I decided $1,000 is my budget. That's where I'm gonna stay. Do I really need this thing? No. Can I put that money towards something else? Which in my case was that really meaningful perfume set. Because that's just something I want to do. And there we were. There's the answer. I don't need to buy the small little souvenirs things. Like maybe I can buy one for my little table up here, like of souvenirs. But I don't need to buy multiple. And I don't need to buy multiple for everyone. I don't need to buy for my relative's sister's boyfriend's mom. Like you know what I mean? Like it's not necessary. So you really have to think it through and really have to stick to your own thing, especially when everyone around you is not following the same thing. Like that's not your business, but you have to remember what is your business. Does that make sense? And last but not the least, I could actually grocery shop. And yes, this is not exactly financial, but it's also is. So in Iceland, there's a lot of these grocery stores that you can kind of buy like a ton of food from and cook at your hostels. Because if you've been in Europe, you have like those stairs that you have to climb up, and there's a shared kitchen and shared bathrooms everywhere. So we were in one of those hostels. I'm not really a cook. I don't really cook at home for myself, which I know I should, but I don't do it yet. So my go-to option was ready-to-eat food that's sold in the grocery store. And of course, I looked at the health option too. I picked the healthier one or the freshest one. So that's something you can work on. But it also helped me compare costs, right? Like, is this better than this? How much more is this? And I don't want to be that person who looks at every single dollar and goes like, just because this is cheaper, I'm gonna get this. I am also looking at health. But that is an adult life skill. Like, you have no idea how happy I was when I first finished my grocery shopping the very first time I was there. And it was because it was also confusing. Usually in my household, it's the family that goes to Costco one time, that goes to like all the stores, buys for a month, and I don't have to worry about it. That's another perk of living with family, although it comes with a mental health cost. Anyways, that grocery shopping moment when I realized I shop for myself and I know what exactly is going in my stomach and I could buy it all for cheaper, insane feeling. I think I was super proud of myself. I wanted to kind of celebrate, and just to celebrate, I bought myself like a sweet treat afterward. But that's an achievement, that's a life skill, and that's like just an extra thing. So if you are young and you have not started grocery shopping, it can be stressful, but the rewarding feeling that you get after successfully staying under budget and getting healthier options, insane. What my end point is, financial things, financial comparing prices that you learn, and the grocery shopping adult skill life perk that you get from grocery shopping is something else that I learned. So my overall point of this whole long video is knowing your numbers before, during, and after, and making adjustments throughout every now and then is so much mental peace. Not only does it teach you how to kind of budget for yourself and live a living, but it saves you a ton. And I could do an incredible, close to impossible challenge of spending less than $1,000 in Iceland with that. So that is a big achievement, and that's one of the truly like good financial things that I kind of did for myself this year. Spending your money wisely is never a bad decision. So yeah, Iceland wasn't just beautiful, it was such a big learning point for me financially. It put me out of my comfort zone, put me in grocery stores, shopping, really calculating costs, having me hold my balance sheet everywhere. Not literally, you know what I mean. Like, I was calculating money, but not too much that it kind of got into my experience, but it also kind of stayed in the back of my mind, so I remember what I'm really here for and the challenges that I give myself and if I can achieve them. That's all for this video. If you were able to get something meaningful out of this video, I would love for you to hit that subscribe button. If not, hopefully I'll gain your trust within the next couple of months. For now, that's it, and I hope you take care. Bye.